Fed up of floor robes, driven to distraction and drowning with doom boxes? Tired of living in chaos? Welcome to Decluttering Untangled, how to declutter when you're overwhelmed, ADHD or autistic. I'm going to help you uncover the secrets to decluttering, no matter what hurdles you face. You'll discover how to declutter, de-stress and transform your world. I'm Heather Tingle, reformed hoarder, neurodivergent declutter queen, and your guide through the maze of mess. Let's get untangled. Hello Untanglers, and welcome back to another episode of Decluttering Untangled with me, your host, Heather Tingle. So today's topic has come about because I've done a few of these spaces recently and I seem to face the same issues each time. So today we're heading to a space that makes a lot of people shudder, and that's the garage. That cold jumble of spiders, cobwebs, half-empty paint tins and a treadmill that you said that you'd use but hasn't actually been used for the last 5 years. Yeah, that's the place, alongside boxes of stuff that you thought you'd sort out one day and a mishmash of DIY stuff. And that's why garages are quite hard to tackle, because they serve so many different purposes. They become dumping grounds for the someday items, the camping gear that you used once, the kids' bikes that they grew out of, boxes of stuff that were meant to be temporary, and then years later they're still there. And let's face it, most garages don't have cars in them anymore. In fact, I know some places that have got a garage that can't even fit a car in. And most places can't fit a car in because there's a load of clutter in them too. So they are more like clutter caves than what they're intended use for. And that's okay, because you are not alone if yours looks like that too. I think nowadays they are used as an indoor-outdoor store for things that are maybe too precious to be left outside or in a shed, but are too strange to be like in the house, if that makes sense. So where do you begin? First of all, trying to get your head around about why garages get so full, really. I think it's because they're out of sight, out of mind. It's so easy to shove stuff in when the house feels too full, or if you've got company coming over, you tell yourself you'll deal with it later. It's that temporary space that ends up being permanent. So later never happens, and before you know it, you can't even get in the garage, or you can't get to the other side of it without tripping over something. So you can't reach the gardening tools without climbing over a mountain of recycling boxes. It feels allowable to chuck stuff in there because it does feel like an indoor-outdoor space. It's allowed to feel a bit cluttered and unorganized because you're not expecting perfection from it. And anti-perfection is a good thing, but you do want it organized so that you can actually use it. So what do we do about it? This is not about transforming a garage in a whole garage in a day, because in all honesty, that is a recipe for overwhelm. If you've got the time to do that, brilliant. Most of us don't, but it is about reclaiming some space, having it feeling a bit more organized, knowing where things are, so that when you need that item, where you need that screwdriver or hammer or that, the kids' football or whatever it is, you know where it is and you can get to it without breaking your neck tripping over something. So to get started, first of all, you need some time. You need to wear your dirty clothes because you're going to be moving stuff around, picking stuff up. And a lot of this stuff is outdoor stuff. So you're probably going to get a bit muddy or dusty. And pick a day when the weather is not terrible, because it is likely that you might need to take things outside to sort. And also, garages are usually the coldest place in the house. So make sure you're wrapped up or wear layers, and that you're doing it on not a horrendous cold day. Get boxes and bags ready. Make sure you've got something for rubbish, because you are going to find some rubbish. You are going to find some things for recycling. You are going to find things that you might want to sell. You are going to find things that you want to take to charity. And the key to making those decisions as you go is, instead of just moving clutter from one pile to another, putting it in those bags or boxes. I would say start off with some boxes so you can just chuck them in all honesty. And what you want to do is start out by working out what activities you're going to keep in this space and set up some really simple zones. Outdoor stuff, gardening stuff, DIY stuff, seasonal decorations, sports stuff, clear boxes or open baskets work really well in these spaces because you can see what's inside without faffing about. And one of the main issues I see in garages is that the floor space is used and it just becomes bigger and bigger piles on the floor, which then makes it harder to get around. But we rarely go vertical. So if you're able to, once you've organised a little bit and you know what you want to keep, try and get some shelving or racking if you can to make the most of the space. Even if you can just get hold of like an old wardrobe or old chest of drawers, or an old bookcase. They work really well in garages. Try and get something like that if you haven't got the money to buy. If you have got the money to buy, then get some kind of heavy duty metal racking and shelving. But whatever you do, make sure that it's secure and it's not going to tip up on you, because garages can be very dangerous places. So there's a little heads up for you, speaking with experience. So try and go vertical if you can, and think about the things that you use most often. What is it you need to just open the door and grab what you need? So have that stuff as close as you can to the door. And also if you've got like a big garage door, so you need things, you need the heavy stuff to go out through the big door, think about things like your lawn mowers and all that kind of stuff. They obviously need to be near that exit. So when you're working out what you want to keep, think about the logistics of how often you use it, and when you do use it, how heavy is it, where have you got to get it from, where you got to get it to, and really plan that out as well as you can. And then what you want to do is go through each category at a time. So all the garden equipment, look at all your small garden tools together and decide which ones are the best ones. And it might be that the best ones, the favourite ones, are the really old ones that look like they're going to fall to pieces, but they just keep on going. So it might be things that have been passed down to you, the old tools. You're going to keep those rather than the newer ones that actually you're always going to go to those old faithfuls. It might also be that you're going to need a box for action, because you might find some old things that might need fixing, or they might need sharpening, or they might need a professional to have a look at. And that is something that you need to diarise, so it doesn't just become a box of procrastination later. When you're going through those individual categories, I want you to ask yourself, is this an item from a past life that I want in my future? Those old hobbies, the sports gear, the tools for projects that you don't really do anymore. Ask yourself, do you really want them in your future? Are they worthy of keeping in this space? And if not, then let them go. So for me, things like the car cleaning stuff from back when I used to hand wash my classic car, don't have a classic car anymore. I've got a normal bog standard one that quite frankly just gets a wash a couple of times a year. I don't do that anymore because my car is much bigger than me now and my health is much worse. So I use a car wash. So I let my car washing stuff go. It's not in my current life, so I don't need to keep it. Think about your DIY supplies. Try the use, one last use rule to let go of things if you need to. If you're keeping half a tin of paint and you actually want to keep that, make a plan to use it. Like get it booked into your diary or let it go. In fact, I might need to do a whole new episode on leftover tiles, paint and carpet, as this is something that is worthy of its own episode, in all honesty. But try to minimise whatever you can and think, by the time I actually need to use this, will it be any use? Big items like unused bikes or old furniture, don't just move them around again. Make a plan for their exit. That might be a charity collection, Facebook Marketplace, local Craigslist, or a tip run. So write it down and book it in so it doesn't stall you. And for sentimental stuff, don't get bogged right down by that right now, because all you're going to do is box it, label it, and move on. You can revisit it when you've got more headspace. You should never do sentimental stuff while you're doing others. However, having said that, try not to keep sentimental stuff in a garage if you can help it. I have seen so much precious stuff kept in a garage, and either there's been floods, the damp's got into it, or some rodents have got into it. So try and keep sentimental stuff somewhere else if you can help it. And if you can't help it, use metal tins instead with silica packets to keep the damp away. So just in conclusion, really, decluttering your garage is not about making it picture perfect. This is a space that is never going to be perfect, and that is okay. However, that is not an excuse for it becoming a total bomb site. It is about making it workable, giving yourself a bit of breathing room, being able to find the things that you need when you need them, and not feeling dread every time you open the door and that awful feeling of overwhelm. The key, like most things decluttering, is to zone it first and be really clear about what you want the space to do for you. Do each category at a time, by micro category within that bigger category, and don't wreck yourself feeling it's all got to be done in one go, because it doesn't. Your garage might not feel like a priority compared to your house, but it will impact the other areas in your home as life goes along, and it also makes life so much easier once it's sorted, that it does impact the rest of your house too. I would love to hear your garage wins, big or small, so share them with me in the Untangled Facebook community. And remember, your garage does not have to be a clutter cave forever. You are able to fix it. one shelf, one bag, one box at a time, you can untangle it. So until next time, be kind to yourself, remember you're not alone, and keep untangling. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Decluttering Untangled. If you found anything that I've said today helpful, please do me a favour, hit that subscribe button or leave me a review. It's like receiving a virtual high five that keeps me going and lets me know that I'm helping real people out there and I'm making a difference. Please remember, you're not alone in this. I'm building a community of fellow untanglers over on Facebook. Just visit the show notes for the link to my free decluttering community. So until next time, remember, you're not alone, you're not lazy, you can untangle your life.